now. There we go. And welcome to part two of Selling for Success. What we did last week was we looked at ourselves, doing a little bit of, research on our value and what we bring to the game. So we covered that. And this week we're going to look at knowing your niche market, your customer, right? We're going to look at warming up the sales call next week, developing a sales action plan over the next few weeks. We're going to explore that selling, it's not rocket science. It's really about having a good conversation with someone, engaging people. You hear about engagement on, when you're online, through your social media. And that's really what sales and working with your clients is about. It's about engaging people in a conversation to really sort of, become engaged with you and become interested in who you are and what you do and what you have for them. We just welcome Nadia to the call. So Nadia, welcome. Um, we're going to look at overcoming the fear of selling, because there is a little bit of fear and call reluctance. We're going to look at the importance of asking good questions. We're going to look at the importance of relationship building and just staying in touch with your customer. You can get a lot of money. You can go out the door by just not staying in their lives in a way that they want, right? So welcome to part two, week two. I want you to kind of think a little bit and definitely chime in. I want you to think this week about your client. Who's that ideal client? How many do you have like an ideal client profile in mind? Like what are they like? Who are they? How much do they earn? Are they male, female? Are they old or young? Are they in a certain industry sector, perhaps? Maybe there's an industry sector that you really want to, sort of develop and grow. I used to a long time ago when I first started my career in sales and business, I was in promotional marketing and promotional products, awards, and incentives. And I found out early then, and without knowing all this stuff that I know now, I focused on two key core areas, two customer segments. One was the packaged goods industry, like Kraft, Maple Leaf Foods, oh boy, who else? Leaf Confections. Those are just a few. And the other was the high tech sector. And the reason for it was I understood more about those two industry segments than any other. And I understood why a packaged goods company would order a promotional item or promotional product. They would do it to get better shelf space. They would do it to get more orders. Leaf Confections did a really big promotion with us that they offered to all those, those little corner store retailers, and they're owned independently. They offered a prize that if they ordered an extra case, they would get this gift from Leaf Confections with their logo on it. And so what we did was, we worked with them on that campaign. Or we did a program with Adams Brands, an in-store promotion program through Max Milks throughout Ontario. And it was a point of purchase program, again, totally designed to increase sales, to get more activity in a slower time year. We launched this in January, February, and March. This program was called the Treasure Chest of Taste, and it was a whole marketing program. So yeah, were they buying promotional products? For sure they were buying. But the aim behind it was much more strategic. And when you understand your client, you can work with them in a strategic fashion. You can work with them beyond the scope of what you do. What you do is definitely a part of it, but it's the results you get for your clients. That's what matters. That's what they want to know. So who's your ideal client? What makes them ideal? I want you to kind of think about this, is there a niche client that you really love to serve, right? Is there that certain type of person, a certain kind of business owner, a certain industry? Another place to look for your ideal client is who's got the greatest needs for your service. Because if they have a need, you're going to definitely, get interest when you start to have a sales conversation with them. What are the characteristics of your ideal client? You know, do they value you? Do they, you know, do they respect your time? Do they pay you on time? You know, just little things like that. It's really important, right? And you know, we're in business. You know, we're creating a life. We want to be valued for what we bring to the table and respected. And at the same time, we're going to do the same with our client as well. So what are the characteristics of your clients? And what are the client challenges and problems that you solve? I want you just to take a few minutes just to kind of think about this, jot down some notes, and then we'll hear from a few of you, okay? So yeah, just we'll hear from a few of you. And while Azita says there's a green microphone button on the top right of the screen. Clicking on it will mute the microphone. Thanks, Azita. I appreciate that. All right, so just take a few minutes and work on answering some of these. It would be great.
Hello, I'm not sure if you can hear me. It's Ruth, but I've lost my slides.
Okay, I don't know why. I don't know why you've lost. You might have a screen button. Show the screen button. Is there a screen button?
A screen button, no. A recording account attendee support.
Welcome, Mandy just joined us. Nadia's here as well. Welcome, Nadia. All right, so try and answer some of these questions. Who's your ideal client? What makes them ideal? Is there a niche client that you love to serve? Who's got the greatest needs, you think, for what you do? What are the characteristics of your ideal client? What goes into it? What do you know, the people you like now, you want to sort of multiply. And what are some of the client's challenges that you solve?
Is this stuff that you know, or?
You should know. You should have an idea. You know, being in business, you get to decide who you want to work with, what organizations, what companies, you know, what goes into making up your, you know, your ideal client. You should have a clear perspective.
What if you think they are, but you're not 100% sure?
You test it out. You call, you see if they're responsive and open to what you bring to the table.
Okay.
Yeah, you're always testing. To me, being in business is really about, you know, testing, you know, just trying it's like a combination lock, you know, you're going one to the right, back to the left, one to the right, and you're trying to figure it out a little bit. And at the same time, hopefully you're making some hits, you know, you're getting some clients on board.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to continue on. So really want you to focus on this. Maybe over the next week, over the next couple weeks, think of like, who's my ideal client? What makes them ideal? What are their characteristics? Watch the background noise, people. Who's got the greatest need for your service? And is there a little pocket? Is there a little bit of a niche that you really like to serve?
Are we going to get these handouts?
Yeah, I'm going to do that at the end. I'll give you my email and email me and I'll send them to you. So
okay.
One of the key things is that, you know, it's the power of a niche. You want to see if you can focus on maybe one or two sort of segments or client segments, and that's what we call niching, you know, having a niche, developing a niche. And there's a big power in having a niche market. You're not calling on everybody willy-nilly, right? So you've now got a focused marketing and sales strategy. You become known in that niche. You become known in that category, and usually there's little competition, right? And you're not wasting so much time marketing, selling, networking. You know, you can go to networking events, you know, ad nauseum, right? And not connect with the right person. The other thing, when you develop a niche, when you have a focus of a certain sort of client segment, I alluded to the fact that, you know, I called on certain industry segments. Maybe it's like you're calling on new moms in business. You know, maybe you're calling on the boomer market, right? When you develop a niche, you have a clear-cut direction. You know, you start to know where you can connect with them, where they're hanging out, what they're doing. So I'm going to show you another slide. This is a client of mine who I coached in the self-employment benefit program in Whitby, and she came in for a coaching session with me, and she said, you know what, I'm not getting clients. And I said, well, you know, her name was Pamela. I said, Pamela, so who's your market? And she said, well, it's women 35 to 55. And I said, that's great, but you know, that's a large net to cast. You know, that's really, you know, that's a big market. And what we did is I drew a circle on the whiteboard, and we started to segment. I said, Pamela, what are all the different kinds of women in this marketplace, right? What are the different types of women? And what we found was there were a number. There were about 12 segments of, you know, women's of groups, 12 segments. And that was really huge. And what we did is we discussed, we nailed it down to the top sort of 3 most stressed out women. Why stressed out? Well, let me tell you about Pamela. Pamela was doing stress management workshops, one-on-one mindfulness training and coaching, and also other ways to relax people and get them to de-stress. So what we did is we drew that big circle and we said, okay, Pamela, you know, among women 35 to 55, who's got the most stress? And so we started to identify different groups of women, and we came up with these 3. Working women with family, single self-employed women with kids, and another subsegment, single working women with kids. So we also added working women with family, older parents, and commute to Toronto. Okay, no stress there. Pamela was based in the Durham region, so that if you've ever done that commute in the morning from Durham to Toronto, it's stressful. You know, there's a lot of traffic. So when Pamela started to connect and network and chat it up about what she did with these segments, she was a lot more focused in her messaging. And when she was focused, the right person would come up to her and say, oh, that's me. I want to know more, Pamela, right? So if she went to a networking event, let's say she went to a small business networking event, and so her messaging was, are you a single self-employed woman with kids? Do you know the stress of running a family by yourself and a business? Well, what I do is, so here's the problem you have. What I do is I help you get your life back. We offer mindfulness training, one-on-one stress management sessions, and meditation workshops in groups to help you get, you know, to pace yourself in this crazy world we live in, right? So all of a sudden, Pamela was talking their language, and that single self-employed woman was going, oh my God, am I ever stressed? She's right, I am stressed out. I need her services. So it's really important for you this week, this is what we're trying to teach, is to really get clear on who your ideal market is, right? What's that sort of ideal client, and then speak to them, understand, you know, their challenges. That's why I asked here a couple of slides ago, that's why I asked, what are your clients' challenges, you know, that you solve, or problems or issues that you solve? So, you know, this week I want you to really give thought, you know, to your ideal segment, your ideal customer. Who are they? And just hone in for the next, you know, month or so, hone in on that ideal segment. Someone's, I've unmuted somebody, and I gotta just mute you to keep the background noise down, okay? So bear with me. And there we go. Okay, I'm gonna show you a video. I hope this works. This is new for me. This is a video on the power of a niche. So we're talking about niching. We're talking about segmenting your market. We're talking about honing in on your ideal client. So here's a cool video. I hope this works. Please work.
I want to talk to you about marketing.
Can everybody hear this?
I'm not getting enough clients. I'm going broke.
That sounds frustrating. Can you start by telling me what you do?
I sell a product called Amazing Green Juice.
Got it. Amazing. Green
I hope you can see this
Would
and
you
hear
like to
it.
join the company?
If somebody can let me know,
If you
that'd be
sign up
great.
as a distributor, you get a big discount on the prices.
I understand.
Okay, I'm hearing yes. Okay, thanks. I'll turn it up.
On the prices.
I understand, but
This is not the usual MLM. This one is different.
let's slow down for a minute. Okay. So you sell this product. To whom are you selling it?
That's the best part. This can help anyone.
So your perfect audience is.
Everyone.
There are almost 7 billion people in the world.
It could help them all. I want to reach everyone. Would you like to sign up under me? There's a special.
Whoop, didn't want to do that.
I want to talk to you about marketing.
Okay.
I'm not getting enough clients. I'm going broke.
That sounds frustrating. Can you start by telling me what you do?
I sell a supplement product called Amazing Green Juice.
Got it. Amazing. Green. Juice.
Would you like to join the company?
Pardon?
If you sign up as a distributor, you get a big discount on the prices.
I understand, but
This is not the usual MLM. This one is different.
let's slow down for a minute. Okay. So you sell this product. To whom are you selling it?
That's the best part. This can help anyone.
So your perfect audience is.
Everyone.
There are almost 7 billion people in the world.
It could help them all. I want to reach everyone. Would you like to sign up under me? There's a special.
So, your target market is the whole planet.
Yes.
Okay. I think this may be your problem. Most businesses fail because they have no idea of who they are trying to reach.
I know who I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to reach everyone.
Right. And this is where things break down. When you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to everyone. You can't please everyone. After all, if your target market is everyone, then how can you know where to find them? Or how to word your marketing materials to them? Or where to advertise? Does this make sense?
No.
What?
They are easy to find. They are everywhere. I can advertise anywhere.
I thought you were broke.
I am so broke. I can't even afford a pancake. I am hungry. Will you buy me a pancake?
No. I will not buy you a pancake.
I want a pancake.
This is ridiculous. I will not buy you a pancake.
You can take the money you would have spent on the pancake and buy me a bottle of Amazing Green Juice.
No.
You could live on just Amazing Green Juice forever.
No.
It is alkalizing.
No.
It is 100% raw.
No.
It is certified organic.
No. Please stop.
It affects you and heals you on a cellular level.
What does that even mean? Do you have any idea what it means? That is marketing fluff. It doesn't mean anything.
It is also fully certified fair trade. And it is vegan. And gluten-free. And no trans fats.
Why would there be trans fats in a green drink?
There aren't.
So, you're broke.
Yes.
And your target market is everyone.
Yes.
So you can advertising anywhere and everywhere.
Yes.
How will you afford that when you can't even afford to buy yourself a pancake?
Oh.
Do you see the problem?
Yes. Thank you. I will do all of my marketing word of mouth and grassroots then. I will spend my time instead of my money.
Do you have any idea how much time it would take you to reach 7 billion people?
I don't care. I am on a mission. This is my life's purpose. I will do it.
Even if you only spent 1 minute per person,
I will do it.
that's 7 billion minutes.
I will do it.
That would take you 13,318 years, during which time you would still be broke because you would never sell anyone your product in 1 minute. 13,000 years without even being able to afford a pancake.
Oh.
So do you see why narrowing your target market might be useful and actually save you time and money? By choosing one group to focus on, it will help you spend every penny and every minute on something that is much more likely to get you business.
Okay.
Good. You have realized that you need to focus your marketing on a narrower group than every human in existence who has ever lived. This is a good start. Next, we will talk about how to identify target markets that can work best for you. We will look at the difference between a good target market and a bad one.
All right. So, yeah, it's a little funny, that video. I kind of like it. Now we all want, Mike says, I want to eat a pancake. Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, yeah, it's that's a cute little video. It's on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's called Why You Need a Niche. And it was done by a colleague of mine. He's he's a marketing consultant out of, I'll show you in a second, actually. I'll show you his website page. He's a marketing consultant out of Edmonton, and he's got a niche. So here's some really good niche examples. And it's really, you know, as the video sort of alluded to, it's really important for you to sort of kind of, you know, like, you know, taper your who you're calling on and have a focus, right? Like kind of think like, okay, who's going to be that ideal client? Who do I really like and groove with? I've unmuted some of you, so watch your background noise. Mandy, I unmuted you, Nadia, and Ruth, so watch your background noise. Here's a couple of really good niche examples. Mompreneurs, for example, they're based in Toronto, and that's kind of a niche market. Let's say you want to work with you know, moms in business. You know, maybe they've got stress. You're doing stress management. Well, that might be a great place for you to go and network and connect and you know, tap into, right? If you've got something for moms in business, they even have a conference coming up in March. So that's a really good example of a niche. Another really good example is, this is a colleague of mine actually, and she's got the niche right in her business name and her website. As you can see there, I took a screenshot. And that's the foodcoach.ca. That's my friend Sabia Siegel. So you get immediately what she does, right? There's no messing around. It's a very clear niche. It's a very clear market. It's a very clear offering that she's got. So mompreneurs, that's a niche market. This is sort of a niche service, right? You get what she does immediately. This is another company that they've really focused in on a niche market. And that niche market are students at university and college who need a car, right? They need a car. It's for drivers 18, save money and claim your freedom, right? So, you know, a lot of kids can't afford a car, but you know what? They got to go to IKEA for a day and buy furniture for their place. So now they can use wheels when they want them on a short-term basis, right? It's like Zipcar, but this guy's totally focused on the student car share market, the student market. And not only that, not only is he making money off of the car rentals, but he's done, you can see here, he's got some cross promotions with Kia. So Kia is getting advertising, and Pizza Pizza, you know, if you join, you get 2 free slices at Pizza Pizza. So he's making extra revenue streams and partnering up and joint venturing with other companies that want to reach that student market, right? So he's done really well. He's making money obviously off of the, you know, people joining up and becoming, you know, a regular sort of car renter, but he's also doing cross promotions with other companies who want to tap into that market, the student market. So he's done a really good job. This is a local company, by the way. If you ever, you know, do some research, and I've got his business card, and I'll find out. I forget his name now, but really, I saw him speak, and he's quite fascinating. And boy, he's got a really good business head on him. Here's my friend Tad Hargrave. He's the guy that did up that silly little video, but he talks a lot about niche markets. As a matter of fact, he's got a niche. You see his website here. It says marketing for hippies. So who are hippies? Well, it's health, the alternative health market, and helping conscious, green, and local businesses grow. So it's the green business, it's the alternative healthcare industry, it's that massage therapist, it's that nutritionist. So the problem he finds is that like the people in the alternative healing arts or green businesses, they love what they do. They're really passionate, they're really good at it. They hate the marketing and selling. It's just not their style, right? They're more sort of, you know, artistic, more dreamy. They're not as aggressive from a sales marketing point of view. So he helps them with that. So that's another niche market, right? So really important. And what I want you to do is I want you to think of maybe your target market and what are some subsegments that you can focus in on. What do you know about them? And again, what issues or challenges do you think that niche market has? And how do you solve those challenges? Just take a moment to work on this. And let's hear some replies. You know, you can answer in the question bar, or when you're done, just chime on in, okay? Great work so far, everybody. Hope you're getting something out of this today. Some of you have self-muted, so you can unmute yourself. Nadia, I'm going to unmute you. Watch your background noise. And unless you want to, oh, I'm still hearing a little background noise there. But just work on this for a moment, and then we'll hear from some of you. I want you to really kind of get clear. Like, who do you think in your big market? What are some maybe niche segments you can work on? Okay. All right, Mike is on the call today, or the session. Mike's a chiropractor, and his niche market would be people with concussion symptoms, baseline testing, and to help them to have a...
Actually, sorry, Dave, I'm actually not a chiropractor.
Oh, okay.
I'm an athletic therapist and massage therapist.
Oh, okay,
and,
okay.
Yeah, my focus is concussions, baseline testing, and if people are concussed, I can get them back to return to normal function.
Excellent. And what are the problems and challenges they have?
Headaches, dizziness, the inability for students to be able to go back to school and take tests because they can't concentrate, neck issues like soft tissue because of that, those types of things.
Right. Okay, and so you help solve those problems then, right?
Correct.
Frank Gifford, the former NFL player and broadcaster, passed away, I guess, in the summer. And in the autopsy, they discovered that he had suffered, from complications and issues related to concussion syndrome. So does the work you do, could it sort of prevent that from happening later in life?
It can minimize, I can't say that it can prevent it per se because everyone's different, but it can definitely minimize the opportunity for it happening.
Beautiful. Excellent.
Education and all that kind of stuff goes along with it.
Excellent. Good. So you're really clear on a market and a segment. And if you become sort of expert in this segment, and people see that, it's almost like you're like this, a lighthouse in the sea, right? And people see, oh, there's Mike. Mike does this work, and he focuses on people like me, people with concussion syndromes and concussion problems. I'm going to go to him, right? So, but if you said, oh, I fix everybody and I can adjust everybody and massage everybody and work with everybody, then it's going to be hard to sort of, find you clearly among the market. But when you focus and you become clear with your value proposition, your offering, and who you want to work with, it's going to, people are going to sort of almost come to you rather than you having to go to them so hard. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great work, Mike. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Simona says she's working with eco-conscious women with an above-average income who are aware of the harmful effects of chemicals in their makeup. Yeah, for sure. Women that suffer from cancer, thyroid disruptions that can be aggravated by chemicals and cosmetics. That's great, Simona. And then there's it's also, again, you're also preventative too, because if you start using more organic and more natural products, you might prevent the risks of thyroid disruptions and cancer and whatnot as well. So that's excellent. Really good stuff. Okay, and then Nadia wants to connect with Simona. So Nadia, Sinclair, and Simona, if you guys email me this week, I'll make the email introduction, okay? Nadia is working with busy professionals with kids and extra activities. That's great. That too is great. So way to go. Okay, anybody else? So let's move on. This is something really I do want you to kind of think about this week, at least over the next couple of weeks, over the holidays. Start to think about that. Who's your segment? What do you know about them? You got, like, what do you think of this couple? What do you think of them? When you see them, let's say that's your target segment. What are some things that come to mind about them? What do you think? They're probably young, newlyweds.
Active.
Active. Maybe they're going to buy a house, right? They're looking for, a house. Anything else? Maybe investments. They want investments. You can unmute yourself if you want to jump in on the, on the discussion. Please feel free. Okay. What about these young kids over here in the middle? What do you think of them? What do you think of them? Ruth, I've unmuted you, so if you want to chime in. What about these kids? What do you think they need? What are some of the issues, problems? What do you think? Maybe they want belonging. They want to belong. Yeah, what my future will be. Yeah, they need guidance. Thanks, Sarah. Excellent. They might have some skin issues, Simona. John, you do skincare and dental care. Maybe, this is something, this is a target market for you. They might want career advice. Yeah, how do I get a job for the summer? What do I do? What about this older woman here? She looks like a ton of fun. She'd be fun, I think, at a party, right? Or somebody you work with. You want to kind of hang out with her at work if you're, right? Any comments about her? What do you think of her? She looks pretty happy, family-oriented, right? Yeah, maybe she's done some good financial planning because she's happy. Or John, she bought your products and now she's a distributor, So, what about this older guy here? What about him? What if he's your client, your ideal client? He looks self-assured, calm, relaxed, confident, right? Affluent, he's dressed nicely, right? And then what about this woman here in the kitchen? That's like me, by the way. So I don't have curlers. That's the good news. Any comments about her? She's kind of harried.
She needs yoga.
She needs yoga. She needs the mindfulness training. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Travel for the guy. Yeah, the older guy in the middle here, he would like travel. Maybe he needs a dating site. But she needs yoga, or she needs to relax or balance, maybe work-life balance. Look at that, dishes in the sink here. So, in your mind's eye, I want you to really think of, like, who's my ideal client? What do they like? What are some of the, their needs? What their lifestyle? What's that like? Where are the opportunities for you to kind of connect and talk to them in a meaningful way? If you're working with young students and you've got some, maybe a business opportunity or career opportunity, what is it that's going to enroll them, going to get them excited to want to meet with you and talk to you? And that's what I'm trying to get to. And when you're focused, you can have a much more meaningful conversation, like Mike, is doing with people who suffer from, head injuries and then have complications. And believe me, there's a lot of complications if you ever have a severe concussion. So, what do you know about them? What are 3 to 5 things you know about maybe that segment? Just want you to brainstorm about that ideal sort of customer or that niche segment. And what are 3 to 5 things do you think you know about your market? And how can you help them? Take a moment to think of how you can help them overcome a challenge or an issue. It's like this group, like this guy. If he needs travel, what is it that you're going to do that or offer that's going to sort of suit his lifestyle, wants, hopes, goals, and needs? So I want you to think for a minute as to who your ideal customer might be. What are 3 to 5 things you kind of assume or know about them now, and how can you help them? Take a few moments to work on that. Great work today, everybody. Really good work. And feel free to write it down or speak up. I've unmuted Nadia. You can unmute or you can comment in the screen. Ruth, you're unmuted.
I don't have my slides or anything, so do you want me to just speak up?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure why you're not getting your slides.
I have them and I lost them, and I didn't want to take the time really to play around. Just don't. I'm just really listening.
Okay, okay.
That's fine.
So what do you think? Like, do you have sort of a niche segment in mind, and what do you know about them?
I actually have a really niche market. I
Okay.
offer diabetes and foot care, both from an educational component, so to nurses input who are providing care or who want to provide care. But I also have the actual hands-on care as well. So actually this has really helped because I have made a ton of ideas for the niche market for the nurse who wants to provide that skill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are some of these nurses' challenges? What are some of the issues and challenges they face, and how do you help them overcome it, Ruth?
Well, some of the challenges that the nurses encounter is finding appropriate clients. And I see very, very clearly that many are really focusing on the senior population, and there are tons of other people.
Oh, yeah.
So, and of course, the other thing, of course, is getting an appropriate remuneration for the value of the service that they offer.
Right. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Good stuff. Anybody else want to chime in? All right, I'll push forward. Oh, somebody else had a comment?
I think one of the things that I probably know about my market segment is because they're busy professionals, mostly women who commute, who have kids. A lot of them feel a lot of guilt in regards to the way they feed their children, and what we do is provide a healthy alternative.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, so for sure, you know, and or they're not educated, or they've they've weaned their children on McDonald's and French fries and junk food, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just they don't have time to sort of really prepare healthy meals, right?
Right.
Any other comments there? Is that Simona, by the way?
No, that's Nadia.
Oh, Nadia, thanks. Excellent. Thank you. And let's see, I got some comments here. I'm going to just share. Nicole says she's an HR safety consultant, and her market are small trades, 5 to 49 employees. Excellent, Nicole. They're highly busy at medium high risk of workplace injury and accidents, and typically they don't know much about or care about their employee obligations. And now, Nicole, wasn't there a new law passed down, I think it was this past July, where you've got to really sort of be up to date on all the safety regulations, right? Wasn't there a new law, I think? So they run the risk of lawsuits.
Yeah, there's a lot of changing employment obligations for a lot of businesses. So most of these small companies, they don't have the time or the resources to fully get themselves aware of what they need to do or have the time to implement things the way the ministry is intending them to be.
Right. So they're and then they run the risk of lawsuits if anything disastrous was to happen, and you know that could just totally that'll shut your doors, right?
Yeah, last week they changed one of the fine obligations from $100,000 to $500,000.
Yeah, that would bankrupt a company.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nicole. And John writes, David, over the past 24 years, he's narrowed down this information, but I still get this is a scam, this is a pyramid, I don't have any time, and they won't even watch our new Creating Sustainable Incomes in Canada through e-commerce YouTube videos. So the first 50 people I've asked to watch the videos, they try to offer their products and services, which is frustrating. So John, you raise a good point, that perhaps it could be the approach a little bit, not to insult you because I don't mean to, but it could be your approach and your messaging. And it could be the fact that maybe you're not going after the right mix, right, of clients. So couple of things I'm going to suggest here. If people are perceiving you as sort of a scam or a pyramid or not viable for themselves, I think you have to show the viability. And I think you have to speak to people's challenges and problems and say, look, I've got something for you that, it's worth considering. It can probably bring you a little bit of extra income, and we all would like a little bit of extra income, perhaps even passive income. And then you'll work with them. You'll support them as their coach or as their guide through the process. So I think if you kind of came at it that way, or else built relationships first. I have a financial planner colleague of mine based out of Hamilton, and she doesn't even talk about financial planning. She focuses on the relationship. And then when people start to like her and trust her, then she might have a conversation. Or they might even come to her and say, oh, you do financial planning. I got to look at my insurance this year. Or I have to, I want to start an RSP. They'll come to her because they have a relationship base already with her. And they know her. They like her. She's probably helped them out somehow. And so they just come to her. And that's kind of what we want, right? In sales, we don't want to have to, go after everybody. We want them to come to us. So these are strategies today that will allow you to have that happen. Like Mike, if you position yourself as this beacon of light for people with concussion syndromes, they're going to come to you, right? Nicole, if you're helping those kinds of companies prevent, massive lawsuits and possible, fines from the government, they're going to want to talk to you, right? And I bet you what you cost and what a fine is are two completely different things. Mm-hmm. Any questions? How are we doing? Everybody getting something today? I hope so. I got a comment in the comment pane, and John says most people in our industry join the direct sales industry are just looking for $500 to $1,000. Yeah, that's it. So if you want to just earn that and you're just happy with that, John, nothing wrong with that, right? Now, what if they lose a job? Then they might want to turn it more into a business, and then you can really coach them and work with them on that. And Shelly says, yes, she's getting something. Excellent, Shelly, I'm happy. Going to show another video. I'm just going to turn up my volume on this end. Maybe that might help. I don't know. I hope so. I'm going to show another video. This is new for me doing these videos. I've embedded videos in these. This is a woman by the name of Sally Hogshead. Let me set up the video. She's talking at a conference she's speaking at, and she's written a book called Fascinate, and it's all about fascinating your customer, getting their attention enough to meet them. And when you're making, say, a prospecting call or you're networking, your goal should never be to sell somebody on the phone. Your goal should be to your goal should be to get a meeting, right? That's what you want. You want to just have a meeting with somebody, and that's the goal for a sales call. That's the goal at a networking event. You want to just get people interested enough to want to meet you. And Sally's going to share some really cool ideas. Okay, and Mike, thanks, man, says I'm doing a great job with the videos. All right, here's Sally Hogshead. She's great. Check her out, and I really love her work. Here goes. I hope. Yeah.
The BBC just released a report. Because of the internet, the addictive nature of web browsing has left us with an attention span of 9 seconds, which is the same as a goldfish. So what this means is that your customer, your producer, the people that you're trying to attract as employees, the companies, the relationships that you want to be able to keep, they're goldfish. Our attention spans used to be 20 minutes long when we lived on the farm. 20 minutes long, 1 minute for every year that we are old. But then, over time, our attention spans got shorter and shorter and shorter. And then came along a little thing named the internet, which brought our attention spans down to this measly 9 seconds. So how can we compete in this 9-second world? This means you have 9 seconds when you're talking to a potential new customer or your existing customer. They're so distracted by everything that's going on between the emails and your competitors who have a nasty habit of trying to get their attention, and all the other things that are going on in their world, that you only get 9 seconds before their brains are going to try to decide whether or not they're going to pay attention. 9 seconds. You get 9 seconds to make an impression. Raise your hand if you think that's scary. I think it's scary. A commitment can't happen in 9 seconds. A relationship can't happen in 9 seconds. You will rarely get a customer in 9 seconds. It takes more than 9 seconds. But 9 seconds is how long it takes to make an introduction. You introduce yourself in the course of 9 seconds all the time, every day. 9 seconds. At a cocktail party, in an email, in a PowerPoint, in a telephone conversation, and then an IM.
Whoop.
Conversation, and then an IM. 9 seconds is how much time we give to each other. And then if you can make that first 9 seconds work for you, if you can harness it, if you can communicate your value immediately, then you get to get the rest of it. So think of it almost like a doorway. There's this doorway here. And on the other side of the door are all the things you want. The sales you want, the relationships you want, the customers you want, the employees you want, the relationship with your coworkers and your boss. It's all over there on the other side of the door. But the problem is the way our brains are becoming hardwired is that we only get 9 seconds to knock on that door. You get 9 seconds to knock on the door, and then if you knock in the right way, if you knock in a persuasive and influential way, the door opens and you can go through it. And it's then, once you're through the door, that relationships happen and love happens and commitments happen and sales happen. But in order for you to get from there over to here, that's what I wanted to do today.
All right. So that's Sally Hogshead. And she talks about, you know, really like making an impact, connecting with your clients. You know, so it's really important for you to sort of make an impact. When you're having a conversation with someone, you got to get to, first of all, know your audience, right? And here's, this is, I don't know if you can see the screen here. This is the Toyota commercial that's on air right now, you know, the Blue Crush, right? And so this sort of hippy-dippy guy is in the showroom, and all of a sudden the sales rep at Toyota is matching and mirroring him. His hair even grows, and at the end of the commercial, he's got a beard, right? And what he's doing is he's connecting to his audience, to his customer, to a point where they look alike at the end, except for the height differential, right? So how can you connect to your audience and prospects? That's really important. First of all, you got to know who they are. Second of all, you got to know your value. That's what we did last week. What do you bring to the table? And third is you gotta do it in a way that's going to get them engaged in a great conversation and kind of get them going, oh my God, I need to talk to you. You got what I have. You're the answer to my problem, right? So are you a bottle of Tylenol, or are you the banana split, you know, the good gooey chocolatey lovely dessert? Boy, pancakes and banana splits we're talking about. I think we're going to all go for a snack after. But you know, like, what are you? Are you positioning yourself and your service and your products as a pain reliever, or are you someone who's bringing pleasure and joy to people? So this was a great ad. They have them. You can actually, I think they've got these on YouTube, and it's a great campaign. The Blue Crush, yes. So it's really kind of cool. But what I'm just trying to say here is the sales rep starts to connect to the buyer, right? And they're in synthesis. By the end of the commercial, they're just so related to each other that they are each other. There's the other one with the German guy. Oh, he comes in and this sort of East Indian guy becomes this German precision guy. They're very cute commercials. I find, at least. John says, okay, I'm going to my question pane, everybody. I have a question pane that I can look at. Interesting that I refer to audience prospects. I refer to them as suspects. Yeah, it is your audience. They are prospects. They're going to be in your care, John. That's what you want. You want people in your care. You want them to trust you and develop those relationships. So again, power of a niche, we talked about that. It connects you to your ideal market. They get your messaging and they get the value, right? Because you're going to be clear in communicating your value. Again, you've got a focused sales strategy. You're cutting back on time. You become known in a category and you can specialize, right? Some other niche marketing success stories include Kentucky Fried Chicken. They did that so that they were competing with McDonald's, right? 7-Up, their sales went through the roof once they changed their branding to the Uncola. People didn't really understand what they were when they first came out. They knew it was a soft drink, but they were used to Coke and Pepsi, right? Or RC Cola too back in the day. And then once 7-Up said, well, we're the Uncola, people got it. Oh yeah, it's a soft drink, but they're not a cola. They're a lime lemon drink, right? Gray Plus Insurance, that's a really good example of a niche market, right? Car insurance for 50 people, for people 50 plus. A food caterer offering vegetarian food. This one here, I don't know if you can see that, Yoga for Round Bodies. This is a woman by the name of Tina Veer. I got to just share this because this is a really cool story. So she started out as loving yoga, and she liked to practice yoga. But she went to your normal yoga clinic or a Good Life Fitness, and every time she went to one of these traditional yoga clinics, she always came back feeling a little like not so good. And the reason why is Tina's a plus size woman. She's about 350 pounds, and she felt really judged, right? And a little self-conscious about her appearance every time she went to take yoga. And she thought, man, oh man, if this is happening for me, I wonder if it's true for other plus size women who would like to do yoga, but they feel a little self-conscious about their appearance going to a traditional yoga studio or to a fitness club. And so she started to do some little market research and feel around a little bit. And she soon discovered that not only was she right in her assumption, but everybody said, well, if you open this up, we're coming. And so Tina then studied, got her certificate in teaching yoga. She actually teaches, it's restorative yoga, basically. And what that is it's a lot less taxing on the body and the joints. And so she took her certificate to teach restorative yoga, and then she branded it called Yoga for Round Bodies. So it's yoga for plus size women. So she's been going now in her practice for over 10 years. And now she's licensing this concept to other yoga practitioners around North America for about $10,000 a pop. So she's not only making money off of teaching yoga, she's had a successful practice. The other thing is, because she's so well known in this niche, that the media come to her for interviews about, plus size women's issues, health issues, self-esteem issues. So she's a darling in the media. She's got a very clear-cut, mandate and focus and market. People understand and they come to her. She doesn't really have to go to them. And now she's selling licenses, right? She's making extra money. I've never seen a yoga practitioner as successful as she. And she's just in Toronto. She's at Christie and Dupont, I think. So check it out. Health Salon Health Yoga, Yoga for Round Bodies. So that's another benefit, right, of having a niche market. And that really, truly is a success story. Any questions? Any questions so far? All right. I'm going to do a little, we've got about a few minutes left. Maybe I'm going to have to do that next week. I think I'm going to. It's a case study I was going to have you work on. Yeah, I'll do that next week. It was a case study. Any questions before we kind of wrap up our segment today? Any questions? So a couple things that I need you to do over the next week is think about who your ideal market is. Think of, the two key things, happening with your clients. What are some of the issues and frustrations your clients are in? What's happening in your industry? What are some success stories? Who in your sector is succeeding, and why is that? If you're launching your business and you go, man, I'm having a challenge, talk to somebody who's really successful in your industry and see what their business model's like. See what their doing that maybe you can borrow on, right? What's their mindset? What's their business model? What's their recipe for success? What are they doing that you need to be doing? So one of the things bits of homework is I want you to do a little bit of research over the next week about your market and about your industry, because that's what we've kind of talked about over the past 2 weeks, right? Last week we talked about knowing our value, our business, what we bring to the table, and today it's about knowing our customer. So I want you to do a little bit of homework around this over the next week and really get clear as to who your ideal customer is for next week. So we're going to also, over the next, I guess, 4 more weeks, look at the 6-step sales process. And that includes research. So that's why I want you to do a little bit of research this week. Then next week, we're going to look at prospecting, connecting, talking it up, getting that meeting, right? Or the discovery session. You know, Sally Hogshead said, what you want to do is get a meeting. We want you to get from here to here. We want to get you in the door, seeing your client. So we're going to look at strategies to do that. And what happens when you have that meeting? We're going to work on helping you to deliver great presentations, doing the work, actually doing the work, checking in, how you doing, getting feedback, and making sure that you follow up with your client. You develop really good relationships. So this 6-step sales process is a process I use in my sales repertoire, or the way I sell, and I'm going to share it with you. It's a consultative approach to selling that includes research, knowing your market, knowing yourself, knowing your value, communicating that, knowing what's bothering your market, and then getting out there and talking it up and networking and prospecting, meeting with the client. Then once you break from the meeting, if you agree to work with each other, you're going to work on and deliver a presentation and ask for the business. And then you're going to do the work and follow up. So we're going to talk about that over the next few weeks. But as I said, research is really, really key. You really got to know your client. So in the week ahead, think of some things you know about your client. Maybe there's 3 key points that you want to know about your client. Where can you obtain client research? Can you guys think of 3 places you can go and obtain client research and data? Any ideas? How many of you make a trip to the library? Let's say Monday morning, right? And it's kind of quiet, maybe in your business. What about taking a trip once a month to the library to do some market research, to understand your clients a little bit better? Or do a survey, like do a SurveyMonkey.com allows you to survey your customers to see what they're thinking and what they want. Or another really cool strategy is you go onto Google and you go into Google News up top and you type in news stories about your industry, and Google will ask you, do you want a news alert, a Google News alert? And you go, yeah, I do. And they'll send you articles about your industry every week in your email box. Isn't that cool? And then that way, when you have data and information, you can include this in your marketing material. You can have a conversation with your clients based on this kind of data, right? Really important to keep doing the research and to really know your clients ahead of making that call. When you call somebody and you share ideas and data and facts and figures, you position yourself totally different from your competition, totally different. So you want to include data and research into your sales conversation and really get to know your customer. John writes, I'll be at the library 4 times this week doing research. Good job, dude. It's, it's a quieter time of year, I find, John, because it's the holidays. Mike is going to do Google News alerts. Yeah, excellent. Good work, everybody. So really important, do the homework and get to know yourself, get to know your industry, and the impact that your industry has. Get to know what's going on in your client's world. So now when you have conversations, it's going to be fascinating. You're going to position yourself as somebody in the know, right? You got the ideas, I'll give you a really quick story because I know we're a little bit over time. So one of my clients was, he was cleaning computers, right? And he'd go in and he would service your computers. He'd clean them because there's a lot of dust in the back. Or he'd change cartridges and toners and ribbons. He would do all that. And so his cold call kind of sounded like this. Hi, Bob, it's Joe from Computune. And what we do is we clean up your computers and we change cartridges and make sure everything's running nicely. And I'd like to meet you to see if we can work together, right? Well, you know, that was nice. That was a nice message to say to somebody on a cold call, but it didn't really hit home. So we found a research study that said there are more germs on your computer keyboards at work than there are on a toilet seat. Are you getting a visual? I know I am. I hear that one and I'm going, oh, gross. And so he used that in his marketing messaging, and he used it in his marketing messaging, and he started to get appointments because he would say that there are more germs on a computer keyboard at work than there are on a toilet seat, and people just like immediately went, oh, gross, I don't want that, right? Who wants that? Like that's gross. So he said, yeah, well, what we do is we clean up all your business machines and we disinfect your keyboards so that there's usually less spreading of colds and germs and viruses, and that cuts back on downtime with employees and sort of time off, and it increases productivity. And we do this for $50 sort of a month, and we'd love to come in and see you. And he started to get appointments because people just totally related to that, to that gross story. So here's the homework for this week. I want you to think of your top 3 clients. What do you know about them? I want you to start doing a little bit of market research. How does knowing this information about your clients maybe help facilitate the sales process? Well, Saved by the Bell. What are 3 bits of information you want to know about your clients? And I'm just and your challenge is to call 3 of your best clients this week. Yeah, here's another bit of homework. Here, I want your challenge this week is call 3 of your best clients and book a planning session with them in the new year to discuss their needs, their wants, their goals, and budgets, and find out how you can serve your clients and prospects even better for the new year. So that's due for next week. Can you all do that? Now, if you want this work, email me at thecoach@smallbusinessbigideas.com. If you want, sorry, not the work. If you want the PowerPoint, and that's my website. Or if you want to call, but it's best to email me. And I'll email you the PowerPoint. And if you want the link, once I put the link up online, I'll send you the link to the webinar if you want to review it. Any questions? We're done. Any comments, questions? We got one on the question panel. Thanks, Nadia. And Shelly writes, I've signed up for News Alert and get the latest news, and she loves it. And John's going to go to the library, and Nadia, thanks for the nice, kind comments. So we'll be here next week. Then we take a few weeks off for the holidays, and then we're back, I think, the second week of January. And thanks, Azita. Thanks, everybody. So have a really beautiful week, and, Merry Christmas and to everybody. Thanks, Mike. And just have a really good holidays. Thanks, Shelly. And we'll see you all next week, same time, and then we'll have a break. And just get in the holiday spirit, I hope, in your way, and make it a really beautiful week. Talk to you then. Cheers, everybody.